I paid for my niece's college tuition after her parents said they couldn't afford it. I believed them until I saw them on Instagram in Greece, holding champagne and laughing. When I confronted them, her dad said, "We deserve a break after everything we gave her." Meanwhile, my credit score tanked because they put the loan in my name. I called the bank. They said, "You'll need to file fraud charges." The day I filed, my niece sent me a voice message that shattered me. And then made me hit send anyway. My name's Steve. I'm 48 years old and live in Toledo, Ohio. I work full-time managing parts inventory at an auto distribution center. Nothing flashy, but it's honest work. I don't waste money. I don't carry debt. I pay my taxes and mind my business. Family always came first. That's how I was raised. My little sister, Kelly, was always the wild one growing up, but I figured she'd settled down when she married Dave. They had a daughter, Casey, when Kelly was just 22. I was there in the hospital the day she was born, holding that tiny baby. Felt like yesterday. Life moved on. Kelly and Dave moved down to Fort Myers, Florida, for the weather and cheaper living. We didn't see each other much, but I sent birthday gifts and Christmas cards. They always said, "Come visit," but it never really worked out. Flights were expensive, work was busy, and I figured everything was fine. Until 3 years ago, when Kelly called me out of the blue, crying. She said Dave had lost his job. Some kind of company buyout. They were drowning in bills. Casey had gotten into the University of Florida and had a scholarship that covered about half, but the rest, housing, books, everything else, they couldn't afford it. "Please, Steve. You're the only one we can turn to." I didn't even hesitate. Family is family. I agreed to help. Kelly handled the paperwork. She said the fastest way was for me to co-sign a student loan with the bank they were using. She promised up and down they'd be making the payments. I told her flat out, "I can't afford to cover it if you don't pay." She swore they would. Casey even called me crying, thanking me. She promised she'd work hard, make me proud. For the first year, everything looked good. Casey sent me texts about her classes, pictures of her dorm, even her grades. I was proud. Then the late notices started. I called Kelly. She said it was a mistake. The bank must have messed up. They were still paying. Not to worry. Then a month later, another late notice. Then 2. Then 3. One night after work, I sat down, exhausted, and opened Facebook just to mindlessly scroll, and there it was. Kelly, Dave, and Casey. On a yacht. In Greece. Champagne glasses in hand, huge grins on their faces. Sun setting behind them like a damn postcard. I swear to God, my chest actually hurt. I clicked through the photos. Tour of Santorini. Wine tastings. Shopping in Athens. Spa day selfies. Every single picture screamed, "We're living it up," while I was here, stuck with bills they weren't paying. I opened the student loan account right then and there. They were 3 months behind. My credit score had dropped nearly 100 points. I called Kelly immediately. She answered cheerful, like nothing was wrong. "Hey, big brother." I didn't even say hi. How can you afford Greece when you can't pay Casey's tuition? Dead silence. Then I heard Dave grab the phone. He actually laughed and said, "Come on, Steve. We deserve a break after raising her all these years. It's not like you're broke. You'll recover." I was shaking. Not with fear, with rage. I hung up without a word. The next day, I went to the bank. Sat across from a woman named Paula who looked over the paperwork. She frowned. "Sir, it looks like this loan is solely under your name." "What?" I said. "No, I co-signed." She shook her head. "They set it up under your credit file. Without proper authorization, that's fraud." My stomach dropped. She handed me a card. "You'll need to file police charges." It took me 2 full days of pacing, drinking coffee, and staring at the wall before I finally went down to the sheriff's office and filed a report. That afternoon, walking back to my truck with the paperwork in hand, my phone buzzed. Voice message from Casey. I sat in my seat and listened. Her voice was shaking. Uncle Steve, please. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know they did that. I thought they were paying it. Please don't send them to jail. I'll find a way to fix it. I'll pay you back. Just don't do this, please. Hearing her cry like that nearly killed me. But then I thought about Kelly and Dave, laughing in Greece, living the high life on my back. I pressed send anyway. The next morning, after filing the charges, I woke up to 37 missed calls. Most were from Kelly. Some were from numbers I didn't even know. A couple voicemails were just her sobbing, saying, please call me back, Steve. I didn't. That afternoon, 2 sheriff's deputies showed up at Kelly and Dave's house in Florida with a warrant. They got charged with fraud and identity theft. The loan company froze the account pending the investigation, which helped my credit stop bleeding, for now. But that was just the start. Because when Casey found out that I really went through with it, something in her changed. At first, she was all apologies, promising to pay me back, saying she understood. But after a few days, her tone shifted. I guess Dave and Kelly must have gotten in her ear. She started posting these cryptic, nasty things on Instagram, stuff like, you can't trust family. They'll stab you in the back faster than strangers. And, money really shows who people are. I didn't even have to guess who she was talking about. Half her friends started unfollowing me online. My own cousins back home started calling, asking what the hell was going on. Kelly had been spinning a whole new story. According to her, I had offered to pay for everything, that I'd promised Casey a full ride, and now I was punishing them just because they took a small vacation to de-stress. She painted me like some bitter, greedy monster. I was furious. But it didn't end there. 3 weeks later, I got served. Dave and Kelly were countersuing me for emotional distress. I sat there in my kitchen, holding the thick stack of legal papers, feeling like the world had flipped upside down. They screwed me over. They laughed about it. And now they were trying to make me the villain. I didn't sleep that night. I barely ate the next day. I couldn't think straight at work. I started snapping at coworkers, forgetting little things. My boss called me into his office and said, "You okay, Steve? You're not yourself lately." I almost broke down right there. I needed help. So I called my old buddy Mark. We used to work together years ago. Now he's a private investigator. "Mark," I said, "I need you to dig into Kelly and Dave. Anything shady, anything at all." He said, "Give me a week." While I waited, things got worse. The sheriff's office kept calling me in to answer more questions. The bank wasn't letting me off the hook just yet either. Until a judge ruled I was still technically liable for the loan. My credit stayed in the toilet. I couldn't even qualify for a gas card. And the family drama exploded. Aunt Deborah called me screaming. Uncle Ron sent me a nasty email. Even my own mom, God bless her, cried over the phone, begging me to just let it go for the sake of keeping the family together. I was completely alone. And then Mark called. He said, "You're gonna want to sit down for this." Turns out Kelly and Dave weren't just bad with money. They were running a full-blown side hustle, selling fake luxury goods online, handbags, watches, shoes, you name it. They were using Casey's tuition money and the student loan payouts to fund their inventory and travels. They had gone to Greece to make business connections. Their vacation wasn't even a vacation. It was a shopping trip to smuggle knockoff goods back to the US. And the kicker? They had opened 2 more credit cards in my name. I didn't even know about them because they'd used an old address from when we were kids. They were planning to bleed me dry and then pin it on bad luck or poor choices. Mark emailed me a full report with screenshots, transaction histories, even photos of them shipping out fake handbags from their garage. I felt sick. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a full-on scam. And now, I had the proof. I printed out every page of Mark's report. I sat there in my kitchen staring at the pile. This wasn't just family betrayal anymore. This was real crime. Felonies. I called the detective assigned to the fraud case and told him everything. I forwarded the files. He sounded stunned. Said, "You did the right thing bringing this in. We're escalating this to major crimes." Within 48 hours, everything moved fast. Police raided Kelly and Dave's house. I wasn't there, but Mark knew a guy who got the report. Cops found stacks of fake designer stuff, cash hidden in cereal boxes, even a whole fake bookkeeping setup on Dave's laptop. They were laundering money through fake eBay accounts. It wasn't just fraud against me. It was mail fraud, wire fraud, credit fraud, federal offenses. Casey wasn't living there anymore. She had moved into an apartment closer to campus. She wasn't part of their scheme. But when she heard about the raid, she blocked me on everything. Instagram, Facebook, even my number. It crushed me. I loved that kid like my own daughter. But blood didn't seem to matter anymore. Meanwhile, Kelly and Dave's lawyer sent me another threat. If I didn't drop everything, they would expose me for trying to ruin their lives out of jealousy. Jealousy. Like I was jealous of two scammers. I didn't even answer. I forwarded the letter straight to the police. While all this was happening, my own world kept crumbling. The court froze my accounts temporarily while they sorted out what debt was real. I had to live off cash I had stashed away. My boss pulled me into his office again and said, "Steve, I need to know if you're gonna be reliable. We're on thin ice here." I could see it in his eyes. He was thinking about firing me. I told him the truth, at least the short version. He nodded and said he'd give it time. But the clock was ticking. Then came another twist. One night, around 2 a.m., someone tried to break into my house. I woke up to the sound of someone jiggling the back door. My heart nearly stopped. I grabbed the old baseball bat I kept by my bed and crept to the kitchen. By the time I got there, whoever it was had run off. The only thing they left behind was a boot print on the back deck and a half-cracked security camera on the fence post. I called the police. They checked the cameras. Couldn't get a clear face. But the officer said, off the record, "This doesn't look random. Someone's trying to scare you." It didn't take a genius to guess who. I knew Kelly and Dave were desperate. Desperate people did dumb things. The next morning, I bought a reinforced door lock and a security system with cameras everywhere, front, back, driveway, even inside. I wasn't taking any more chances. Later that week, I got a call from the prosecutor's office. The case was moving forward. Kelly and Dave were facing charges that could put them away for 10 to 15 years. And, because of the mountain of proof, they didn't have much wiggle room. The prosecutor asked me, "Would you be willing to testify if this goes to trial?" I said, "Absolutely." But then he added something that made my blood run cold. "They're gonna fight dirty. Expect it." And he was right. Because just a few days later, I got hit with something even worse. Someone, probably Kelly or Dave, had made an anonymous call to Child Protective Services, saying I was hoarding weapons and was a danger to the community. Bullshit. But it didn't matter. CPS showed up at my door. They didn't find anything wrong because there was nothing wrong, but it still went on record. Another black mark attached to my name. This was war now. After the CPS visit, I knew I had to strike back harder. No more playing defense. I called the prosecutor and told him about the CPS report, the break-in attempt, everything. He updated the charges. Now they were looking at witness intimidation too. The DA wasn't playing games anymore. The state froze all of Kelly and Dave's accounts, seized their car, put a lien on their house. Everything they thought they had? Gone. Even their fancy business inventory got scooped up as evidence. Casey, meanwhile, still didn't reach out. That hurt worse than everything else. I found out through the grapevine she dropped out of college. Moved in with her boyfriend somewhere outside Tampa. Last I heard, she was working 2 jobs, trying to stay afloat. Part of me wanted to reach out. Tell her it wasn't her fault. But another part of me remembered, she chose their side. The court date finally came. I showed up wearing the best suit I owned, stood there under the harsh lights in front of the judge and jury and told the truth. Every missed call, every lie, every stolen dollar. The defense tried to paint me as bitter and jealous, but the jury didn't buy it. Not with the mountain of proof Mark had dug up. It took them less than 4 hours to come back with a verdict. Guilty. On all counts. Wire fraud, identity theft, mail fraud, witness intimidation. The judge didn't go easy. Kelly got 12 years. Dave got 15. And they had to pay me restitution, every penny they stole, plus damages to my credit. Not that I ever expected to see much of it. But hearing the judge say it out loud felt like justice. The final moment that really sealed it for me, though, when they were led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Kelly looked back at me. No tears. No apology. Just hate. That's when I knew I had done the right thing. They would have kept taking and taking until there was nothing left of me. But it didn't end clean. Even though the law sided with me, the fallout was ugly. Half my family still thinks I'm a monster for sending Kelly and Dave to prison. Holidays are lonely now. Worse, my credit still isn't fully recovered. It'll take years to fix. I had to sell my truck to cover legal fees, had to downsize my life in a lot of ways. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I could have handled it differently. Maybe caught the fraud earlier. Maybe pushed harder for Casey to see the truth. But then I remember, they made their choices. So did I. And if I had to do it again, I'd still press send. Every damn time.